Hey everybody, Arnaldo here broadcasting from Fidelios Frequency. Welcome to my channel and welcome to our monthly video featuring Vinyl Me Please Records of the Month. This month we'll be talking about the Records of the Month for September, the Essentials and the Rock category. You're probably saying we're already in October, and the reasons for this delay I'll explain later in the video. And as you probably noticed from the thumbnail of the video, this will probably be my last Vinyl Me Please video, at least pertaining to Records of the Month, for quite a while. And I'll get into the reasons for that and what led me to cancel my membership with Vinyl Me Please. But before we get into the two Records of the Month, the highly anticipated Ramones releases, I want to also remind you of what other records were featured as selections of Records of the Month in September in Vinyl Me Please. In what has now been renamed as the Jazz, Blues, Funk, and Soul category. Formerly, it was called the Classics category. In the month of September, we have Junior Wells, It's My Life, Baby. For hip-hop track, we have Young Jeezy, The Recession. And in the country, the last country track is Nickel Creek, their self-titled album. Last track because the country track is now being discontinued along with the rock track, and they'll no longer be featured as selections in Record of the Month. So let's start off by taking a look at the rock track, which is the Ramones' Too Tough to Die. We'll start off by looking at the packaging, which features an obi, and it tells us that it is a 40th anniversary edition. The album came out in 1984. An all analog release cut from the master tapes by Ryan Smith at Sterling Sound and pressed on blue cloudy vinyl. We'll see that in a little bit. And it also includes a booklet with listening notes from Nicholas Romes. Now, starting off with the actual record jacket, I have noticed that lately, and this is, like I said, the last Vinyl Me Please rock selection, and I've been a member of that selection of that track from the inception, and I think it started in July of 23, so I have pretty much all of them. I only swapped out a couple, but I have noticed that towards like the later releases in this selection, the jacket covers are not as sturdy as they used to be. It's a standard weight jacket cover as opposed to all the tip-on heavy cardstock, similar to the Staunton type of jackets that we're used to in the Essentials category or the Classics, but still faithfully reproduced in the front artwork as well as the back cover. Last time we'll be seeing the VMP Rock foil embossed logo. And the original version of this album had an inner sleeve with lyrics and credits. Unfortunately, Vinyl Me Please only give us a poly-lined black sleeve. So that's a bit unfortunate because as we look at the booklet with the listening notes, you'll see that it only reproduces the same artwork as the album cover in the front. Then we have blank pages virtually and an essay, just text, more blown up text, and another page with blown up text, and the back of the booklet is also the back of the album cover. So a little bit of a disappointment. Actually, I think this is a miss because by not reproducing the inner sleeve, the original inner sleeve with the album credits and the lyrics, I think you're shortchanging your customers a little bit. So I think this is a fail in my opinion. They did do a nice job with the vinyl. Very nice blue cloudy vinyl, very nice color that kind of matches the artwork. And I have to say that pressed at GZ Media, it is flawless. It's flat, silent. I don't have an original pressing to compare it to, but I'm fine with the sound quality and the remastering on this reissue. And now let's talk a little bit about Too Tough to Die. As I mentioned earlier, this album celebrates its 40th anniversary. It was released in October of 1984. It is the 8th album by the Ramones, and it shows more of a return to their punk rock roots, even though it is leaning in a couple tracks more towards heavy metal. And this is, I say, a return to their earlier sound, because the albums preceding and leading up to this one were more of a, let's call it pop vein, more pop influenced. And this album, probably because it is shows a return of Tommy Ramone, former original drummer of the Ramones, not in the drummer seat, but as a producer. He's credited here as Tom Erdelyi. I think I got the pronunciation of his name right, along with Ed Stasium, who had been a longtime engineer and sometimes producer of earlier Ramones records. Interesting to note is Dee Dee Ramone's songwriting presence on this album and on the albums leading up to this one. He either co-writes or writes the majority or a good chunk of the songs, and he is featured, I think, for the first time as lead vocalist on 2 of the tracks of this album. The album at the time was critically praised, but unfortunately, it was the lowest charting album by the Ramones, did not have that much commercial success, and that's a shame because it's a solid album, probably one of their best since Rocket to Russia. Some of my favorite tracks on here: Chasing the Night, Howling at the Moon, and more of a punkish kind of song, Endless Vacation, which I think features Dee Dee on vocals. So what do I think? Final thoughts? I think this was a little bit of a missed opportunity. They could have ended the rock category, going out in style, going out with a bang. Instead, this release, to me, leaves a little bit to be desired in the packaging department. They skimped on the jacket a little bit, which, by the way, Vinyl Me Please, I hope you get it right and stop giving us seam splits. Yes, the record sounds great. Happy with the mastering, happy with the pressing, but you cheated us out of the lyrics and credits of the inner sleeve, and the booklet also seems a little bit rushed. In my opinion, just blown up text, no additional photos, just reproducing the same album artwork. I think it could have been better, but that's just my opinion. I was hoping that this would have definitely delivered, as you will see probably with the next one that we'll talk about. And now let's take a look at the Essentials track, the album that many Vinyl Me Please members were waiting for, Rocket to Russia by the Ramones. Beautiful packaging, and let's take a look at it. Starting off with the Obi, it tells us that it is an all analog release, cut from the master tapes by Ryan Smith at Sterling Sound. Interesting name for the color of the vinyl. We'll take a look at that in a little bit, called Gabba Gabba Hey colored vinyl, 180 gram vinyl. A booklet with the listening notes by Nicholas Romes, and a pleasant surprise is the art print by Oliver Barrett. What a beautiful job they did on the jacket, expanded from the single sleeve of the original release to a gatefold, heavy cardstock tip-on Stoughton type jacket, and the inside, as I mentioned, reproduces the inner sleeve, which had the lyrics as well as the little vignettes that are illustrating the content of the lyrics, all drawn by John Hallstrom, as well as the back cover, which is an anti-communist cartoon drawing, also by John Hallstrom. Unfortunately, this beautiful jacket arrived with another seam split, so that is 2 for 2 in one shipment. But let's take a look also at the booklet. Nicholas Romes also wrote this essay for Rocket to Russia. On the inside, we have one of the vignettes, and specifically of accompanying or depicting the lyrics of Here Today, Gone Tomorrow, expanded to 1 page. And that's about it. Another blank page. So yeah, nice. Different cardstock, I have to say. It's a bit more shiny and not the matte one that we typically always see for these booklets. And finally, let's take a look at the pleasant surprise. In addition to the Rocket to Russia sticker that arrived in the packaging, we have the art print. I believe they are 4 different ones, all randomly inserted. I've seen 2. One of Joey Ramone, and the one that I got is of Johnny Ramone, the guitar player. So that's really nicely done. Also by Oliver Barrett, all of the sketches, all the art prints. And the vinyl I mentioned is called Gabba Gabba Hey, which in reality is just a pink, almost bubblegum pink color. Still very nice, matching, the color scheme of the artwork. And now let's talk a little bit about Rocket to Russia, the third studio album by the Ramones, released in November of 1977. Earlier in the year, in January, they released Leave Home, so that's 2 albums in 1 year. And 18 months before this, they released their debut album in 1976. So that's 3 albums in the span of 18 months. Quite impressive for a new band. Produced, or at least producer credits, are by Tommy Ramone, as well as Tony Bon Jovi. Although there's a little bit of, dispute about how much presence and how much of a hand he had in producing this album. More so like he mixed the album at his studio. And Ed Stasium, the engineer, also has a producer credit. This shows the band moving away a little bit from the punk rock sound and gliding more towards the surf music and bubblegum pop. It was critically praised, and it is probably their most commercially successful album and peaked on the Billboard chart at number 49. It has some fantastic classic tracks on there, starting from one of my favorite. I live in Queens, New York. I've been living here for almost 30 years. Rockaway Beach is in Queens. The Ramones actually hail from Forest Hills, the neighborhood I live in, and as a tribute to the band's origins, we have a mural by the train station depicting and celebrating the Ramones. So Rockaway Beach is one of the tracks where they show their love for Queens. Sheena's a Punk Rocker, Do You Want to Dance, Teenage Lobotomy, all songs that probably many of you know, even though you don't know the titles, you've heard over and over again. So fantastic album by the Ramones, probably my second favorite after their debut. So a stellar job by Vinyl Me Please on this Rocket to Russia by the Ramones. I would give it a 9. Outstanding packaging, great sounding vinyl. I don't have an original to compare it to, but I'm perfectly satisfied with how this pressing sounds. Flat, quiet, minus the seam split, which I will give you an update on that as well. I reached out to customer service, and fairly quickly they replied saying that they will take care of the issues that I had, and I got a shipping notification already. It took about 10 days before the order went through for the replacements and the actual shipping notice. They're on their way. Fingers crossed that they arrive without any seam splits. I cannot say better things about the customer service at Vinyl Me Please. Whenever I have had a issue with their jackets or with the vinyl in itself or any other reason regarding the orders, they've always been very good at resolving the issue. And a little bit of backstory on some of the drama that surrounded the release of Rocket to Russia on social media. And several customers, actually several members, that swapped into this release saw their orders canceled, their swaps canceled and replaced with another title or just replaced with credit. And that caused a bit of an uproar and a lot of disappointment for some people that were highly anticipating this release. I had it as an essential forever, basically. I've always been a member over the 7 years in the essentials category as my primary category, so I was set and I was very happy with it. But it seems like they oversold. Too many people wanted to swap into it. And this is as per the CEO, who went on and released an interview on YouTube, which you can search, in which he addresses kind of like the reasons behind the whole cancellation of certain swaps for the Rocket to Russia, and also addresses the delay in shipping out this release. As a matter of fact, I only received it on September 30th. The CEO was mentioning that an email went out, and it did, I think, regarding the delays of the shipment of the records of the month for September, and attributing it to the Labor Day holiday, which in reality is only 1 day. So a 30-day, almost a month delay, I think is a little bit excessive. I think it's almost kind of like a lame excuse for people to really accept that as a reason for a whole month delay. There's probably other reasons behind it. Maybe we'll never know. It doesn't matter. I hope everyone got their record by now. And now my final thoughts on what I already mentioned at the beginning of the video as to why I am canceling my subscription to Vinyl Me Please. And they were very nice about the cancellation that I put in. Typically, they say that they don't allow an early cancellation on yearly memberships, but I don't know. I guess they like me and they decided to refund me the last couple of months that I had in my subscription. The reason being, I was a little bit disenchanted by the price increase that recently went out to the members in an email, and also by the lineup of the next quarter of the Record of the Month releases. And out of the three categories that are left, times three, that's 9 records. Out of 9 records, I really wasn't interested in any of them. So I would have seen myself swapping either for credit or for some other records in the club that maybe I didn't need or didn't want. And as I said, that coupled with the fact that the membership dues have increased by 20%. And I'll give you a little bit of breakdown. I have or at least I had the 12-month membership, which went from a $435 yearly membership to a $529 membership. And that is a 21.6% price increase. I thought that was a little bit excessive. I understand the rising cost of making vinyl, especially making, the paper and supply chain issues and also shipping charges. I understand all of that. I just think that maybe 21.6% is a bit steep on a yearly membership. Also because the record comes out to be $44.08. And yes, we have other audiophile release series that are priced around the $39 mark. And some of the Acoustic Sounds Atlantic 75 series, they're double albums, but they're priced at $60. I just find that for me, it was no longer worth it, because over the course of the 7 years that I've been a member, I've received some great records that I wanted to add to my collection, and for one reason or another, I never got around to purchasing. So that was great. I discovered so many new artists and some new records of artists that I already knew with the suggestion of Vinyl Me Please in the Records of the Month. And there were other satellite releases that Vinyl Me Please has put out. The beautiful Miles Davis box set, which I reviewed a year ago, which is fantastic, that I had access to as a member, as well as some other releases that were only exclusive to members. So my experience with Vinyl Me Please, I want to say, was very positive over the course of 7 years, but I feel like it's time for me to explore a different phase of my record collecting and my journey through music. I think I can, not that I ever needed any training wheels, because I've been buying vinyl for the past 45 plus years, but I feel like I'm at a different phase in my record purchasing or my music journey, where I want to seek out and allocate my funds towards other reissue labels, or maybe buying some older originals, as people like to call them, OGs. Those are my reasons why I'm leaving for now Vinyl Me Please. But that is not to say that I will jump in maybe for a monthly subscription or a 3-month subscription, or buy a la carte, because I believe Vinyl Me Please will still allow that to non-members for certain releases. So maybe it's a farewell to Vinyl Me Please. We'll see what the future holds. So I guess that wraps it up for the final video for now on Vinyl Me Please Records of the Month. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching all the other videos on Vinyl Me Please or on my channel. I really appreciate your support. And show a sign of support by subscribing. Hit that little subscription button below or the notification button alerting you of future videos that are about to come. That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.